that's Andy. I was gonna wait for you to ask me the same question and say that
I wasn't actually going to ask you.
that he transcends.
The show's already derailed. I find there's a real dog-eat-dog. As much as I do believe Iranians love being Iranian and love the culture. I went to the Shad Mer concert 2 or 3 weeks ago.
She's a lot of woman. and it was just, we were like, stop. You couldn't stop laughing.
So it's almost like as soon as there's like a third party there, then it's like, oh yeah, we're unified and it's us and whatever. But the minute that it's just us within ourselves, that unity disappears.
In Iran, they started a show called Roqe Show, you know? So it showed me like, okay, so you are on a map and then they want to imitate you.
Yeah. They want to steal our intellectual property.
Yeah.
That's how we tell we're doing well.
Their last name is actually Shapere.
Yes.
Shapere.
What, you think they made that name up?
I don't know, maybe stage name.
No.
It's December 11, 2025. This is Roqe. Well, hi there. Welcome to episode 400 of Roqe. I'm Jian Ghomeshi. Salam Dustan Aziz. Durud Basham. I hope you are doing well wherever you are tuning in from around the world. Hello, Groovy Shaya. Hello, Captain Reza.
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir. And hello, Smart Pega.
Hello.
The original cast uniting.
That's right.
This is like the Broadway recording of Cats. The original cast has come back together.
Reunion.
400 episodes. Let me do my official introduction. By the way, that music, that opening music you just heard, courtesy of Groovy Shaya. The updated Roqe theme.
Yes,
we didn't even play the old Roqe theme.
Right.
400 episodes. Let me do what I've written a little poetic paean to Roqe.
I think I need tissue for
You may need tissue. 400. A round number with sharp edges. A milestone. First of all, my nose is a little plugged up because I'm still coming off this sickness that I've had for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah,
Not contagious anymore. I think it was this, we had this Christmas party,
Yeah.
which was awesome, and that the whole team was there.
I was waiting to see who you're going to blame it on.
Well, first of all, I blame it on Roqe Hub, who's in the other room there, and he's super sick.
wearing masks.
He's been sick for a better part of the last 6 months, and he just keeps giving it to people. But this party we had, which was a great party, but somebody came to this party ready to carpet bomb the rest of us with whatever sickness they had, because everybody after that, I mean, not that people aren't sick who didn't go to our Roqe Christmas party, but everybody was sick afterwards, except Smart Pega, who didn't come to the party.
Smart.
Yeah. Actually,
right.
to be fair, I am sick. I'm coming down from a cold. But
You got it by
had nothing to do with-
association.
It had nothing to do with the Christmas party, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. You're a little sick, right?
Yeah.
He's feeling it, but I think it's prelude to a COVID to come, not to alarm people.
You think COVID is returning?
I think it's gonna come another version.
Well, isn't
of it.
COVID just like the flu now?
Yeah, but I think like that version of let's quarantine is gonna come back.
All right.
What
Oh
happened
my
to the
God.
poetic?
Let me do the proper introduction and like explain why you people are here today. میخوام توضیح بدم چرا اینجا هستی امروز.
Episode 400.
فارسی من
That's the
اصلا
big
یه-
difference.
What about that's right. When we talk about the differences over 400 episodes, فارسی جیان.
فارسی تو خیلی
زبان
خوب
فارسی
شده.
جیان.
سعدی شیرازی. به به.
دختر شیرازی. Actually, you're the دختر شیرازی.
دختر کجا بود؟ پسر شیرازی.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying it.
فارسی.
You're the placeholder as for the
That's
دختر
right.
شیرازی.
And I'm very proud of my دختر شیرازی's.
400. A round number with sharp edges. A milestone that feels less like a finish line, more like a mirror. A reminder of the miles, the moments, and the mountains we've climbed since April 16, 2020.
Whoa.
You two were both there
That's
when we
right,
launched this
yeah,
show.
Wow.
Smart Pega joined a little bit later. The fabulous Keon and then Smart
That's
Pega.
right.
We started this show in the quiet, a world on pause, a global lockdown where the streets were empty, borders shut, and the future felt like a rumor. We launched during COVID.
That's right. That's right.
And we originally intended this to be on camera, but because of COVID, nobody was going to come to the studio. So we started it just audio as an audio podcast. Zoom wasn't a thing. Like Zoom did not exist when we started Roqe 5.5 years ago.
That's right. It was just coming on, and you didn't like it. Being a perfectionist, you were like, "I don't like the look of it." But then later on,
and I still don't like the audio thing.
Yeah.
Podcasts about the Iranian diaspora in English barely existed. We were the only lighthouse blinking into the dark, not knowing if anyone would see the signal. And yet somehow here we are, 400 episodes later. Roqe has been streamed more than 45 million times across 200 countries by an audience that's traveled with us through some storms and starlight, you might say. We've taken this show from the studio to the stage with 5 sold-out Roqe Live events, hosted a dozen ideas at the Roqe Hub nights here, produced 2 documentaries, created 33 episodes of the contemporary history of Iran, which was a parallel project, not even counted amongst the 400 episodes, by the way, as you guys know. But maybe the real story is what has happened around us while we've been speaking into these microphones. The Iranian diaspora transformed, Toronto in particular, from a quiet outpost of the diaspora to the epicenter of global Iranian community, a beating heart of creativity, activism, entrepreneurship, identity. We've now lived through the fire, the hope, and the dismay of the Mahsa Amini uprising, through a devastating record of executions in the Islamic Republic, through a shadow Iran war that erupted into a full conflict with Israel, through an economic, water, and energy crisis that continues to throttle daily life in Iran. Iran, of course, the Islamic Republic, a nation in turmoil, a diaspora in motion, a world reshaped. And somehow in the middle of all that, we like to believe our audience who have told us that Roqe has become a place where these stories, the personal, the political, the poetic, the painful, can be processed, argued, celebrated, and understood. So today, we're marking 400, episode 400. We've invited back the original voices from those early uncertain months, the first co-pilots of this unpredictable journey. It's a reunion, it's a reflection, it's a recognition of how much the world has changed, and maybe in our small way, how we've been part of that change. So, are you ready?
Yes.
I want to talk about what we thought we were doing when we began Roqe. I want to then, more importantly, how we've seen changes in the global community, the Iranian diaspora, and how that's changed what we can do with Roqe. And then some reflections on your favorite episodes and things like that. Okay? Sound good, Pegah?
Sounds good.
You used to write your essay like more, because I was expecting to cry, really. But I remember the times that you doing essays, and like I was recording and all the people in the Roqe studio, they were crying.
Yes. You're suggesting it's gone downhill since then. It used to be so good. Well, actually, I don't consider what I just did an essay. Yeah. That was just like a little introduction. Yeah, we, of course, do the essays over the music and
yes.
And also like the subject matter. I'm not sure if I can make people cry about 400 episodes of Roqe as much as the killing of little Keon, not Archeon, Keon Perfalaka. Guys, before we get to this show, I have to make an announcement because just yesterday, tickets went on sale for Roqe Live 6.
Ooh!
Now, both of you, everybody here, of course, Pegah is on stage for the Roqe Lives as part of the roundup, but Shaya, you've been integral to this. Actually, you were helping us in a big way with audio and editing and production last time. Reza, you've been on stage for Roqe Live and also in the audience heckling.
Once or twice.
Roqe Live 6 is set for Thursday, February 19th. 2026 at the Richmond Hill Center for the Performing Arts. That's where we did it, the Roqe Live 5. Beautiful big theater just north of Toronto. Tickets on sale now. Tickets have been posted. Here's the lineup.
Ooh.
A true titan of Iranian pop culture, a pioneer whose music has defined generations, electrified stages across the world, become part of the soundtrack of Iranian identity. He will attend, he will participate, he will receive the Roqe Media Icon Award, Shahram Shapare. Now, I'm curious, Shaya. These are the kind of questions I miss without having you around the regular show. You're kind of an alternative dang show, musician. Would you? No, you're not going to say something bad about Shahram Shahpare, but would you? Is he somebody that you would look up to as a pop musician?
100%. Yeah, I mean, actually, we had this conversation, and you told me once that it's not easy to make a hit. It doesn't matter the genre.
That's true.
It's not easy, and he has a lot of hits. Like you just play Shahram Shahpare, and everyone knows the song, and So of course, 100%.
I didn't grow up in Iran, and I didn't grow up listening as much to Iranian music. And so, but of course I knew who Shahram Shahpare was, and now I'm more familiar with the back catalog. But it's interesting to me that people, just in announcing that he's going to be part of Roqe Live, people have very warm feelings about. Reza, what are you doing, bro?
I'm trying to look for Shahram Shahpare's song that I had it in my playlist.
Yeah.
It's from the 70s.
It's very distracting that you're texting your
I wasn't texting.
girlfriend.
You see how when you're you're a guy who takes initiative.
What are you trying to? Just tell
trying to
Shia
find-
will know the song.
He
Just
won't
tell-
know the song. It's like
okay.
the song goes a little. I don't want to sing the song.
Sing the song.
I don't know the lyrics. I know the melody.
Sing the melody.
Like.
ای قشنگتر از پری
No, that's Andy. It is. If you wouldn't let me, but I will find it and send the link. It's a 70s song. It's very jazzy actually, and then
Okay.
later on adapted it, made it a pop culture. I was gonna wait for you to ask me the same question and say that
I wasn't
the
actually
reason
going to ask you
that he transcends.
that the show is already derailed. I was actually going to go to Pega because Pega grew up in the diaspora, but Pega was immersed in Persian pop music. Well, I'm assuming you're a Shahram Shahpare fan.
Absolutely, of course. I was so excited with this lineup, and I genuinely believe that he is so deserving of the Roqe Icon Award, and I'm just so excited to have him there.
All right. See, that's the kind
And
of
of
answer.
course,
I was
I
looking
grew up listening to his music. Come on.
That's boring. I mean, true and genuine, and I
Thanks,
appreciate
Reza.
it. But no, I was gonna. To rudi man sakhre. Man rud to sakhre, something like that.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's a very jazzy actually song, and maybe pop
Roham's
culture.
nodding. He knows that song.
You know that song?
Oh, all right.
تو آهو من بر
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Oh, man, barre, to rudi man sakhre.
Well, you were saying like
So, Shahram Shahpare,
I'm very excited about
Dr.
that.
Tina Parsa.
Oh,
Tina Parsa
psychologist.
is a psychologist, a big social media star. And what's interesting about Tina Parsa is, first of all, she has a big following. She's currently in Iran. She's living in Iran. She's gonna come here. She's not coming here directly from Iran, but she'll find her way. First time coming to Canada ever.
nice.
For this.
And
Roqe.
yeah, and it'll be really interesting. Yes, for Roqe Live, and it'll be interesting talking to her about having a very contemporary living in Iran right now. Her reflections on as a psychologist on what's happening with especially with the younger generations in Iran right now.
It's a mess.
Ehsan Karami,
Yes.
The actor?
actor, singer. Have you heard him sing?
No.
Oh, he's got a great voice.
Really?
He's got a great voice. A beautiful
Interesting.
singer.
Interesting.
Yeah, and an actor. A very funny guy too. He can be quite funny, I find. Dr. Kaveh Madani.
Dr. Kaveh Madani he's on every news channel now. Like I'm pretty
He is.
he's the biggest star. if you ask me.
when there's a crisis.
This poor
So
guy.
Kaveh Madani's
Feel
part
terrible.
of it. Shali Zomer. Sorry, we should scientist who talks about water bankruptcy and energy and proud member of the Iranian Canadian community. Shali Zomerdi returns, the very
Yes.
popular Iranian American broadcaster, TV personality. She loves Shahram Shahpare, and she was happy to be part of this, to be part of it, especially because Shahram's coming. DJ Al.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys were at the last Roqe Live.
Yes.
This guy, he's a pop DJ, a popular DJ. He's not like some super dark underground house guy or something. But the way he knows how to read a room, and it's just amazing. Like I've seen him perform a few times now, including at Roqe Live, the last one. And he can sense the audience. He can sense what he has to play. He's a great performer. He's really fun to watch. And So DJ Al will be our through line throughout the show again, and Ghazal Akhundzadeh, the piano player, who will be performing with Ehsan Karimi and also doing something of her own. And we'll add a couple more folks too. So this is Roqe Live 6, Richmond Hill Center for the Performing Arts. Tickets available now. You can find the tickets in the bio of Roqe Live. Roqe Media on Instagram. So you go to Instagram at Roqe Media. In the bio there, you'll see the link for tickets, or just go to the Richmond Hill Center for the Performing Arts site. February 19th, and Pega Ganji, Smart Pega, will also be part of the equation as part of our roundtable, which we do at the beginning of the show to talk about things that's in the know, and we are currently about to engage in that kind of a roundtable right now about the 400 episodes of Roqe. So, as an opening question, which I did send you guys this one to kind of get things going. When you look back at episode 1, April 2020, launching something called Roqe, what feels almost unrecognizable about who we were and what we imagined Roqe would become? Reza.
Well, for me, was the fact that we barely could afford a computer when we started. So it took me 2 days to render one episode, and now we have our names written on cookies, and we have stages,
which we
and
still can't
people
afford.
working for us.
Why do you say we?
Well, I thought I'd get a piece of this. That's why I came back here on 400 episodes. No, I'm not. Is that not like a profit share?
Yeah, Reza, basically the show's grown
meeting?
Since you left.
I thought I'm here to
It's finally doing well now that you're gone.
my revenue. I was the burden. But really is that, man? Like, I'm thinking about, like,
Now look at the studio. I mean,
yeah, like everything, like all about it, and how this was the vision, the dream, let's say. But I didn't think it would be that quick. Like, I thought it would take a lot more to create this. You know what I mean?
To be fair, 5.5 years.
That's true. That's true. That is
It
actually
wasn't exactly
It wasn't exactly
overnight sensation. Yeah.
Overnight sensation. But I thought it would take a lot more effort, a lot more money, a lot more people coming and investing, as opposed to becoming a grassroots thing.
I just remember thinking we had no idea whether this was going to work.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like, and there were certainly enough people, even so-called friends of ours, who were like, a podcast in English
Or
about
Iranian.
Iranians, like with Jian, like, what are you doing? You know, like, this is, I remember a friend who we had gone to ask about investing, a guy who does quite well, who now comes to our Roqe events. But I remember him saying, come talk to me after, if this is still happening in 2 months. Right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's how, it really was. There was no belief in,
Yeah.
and just a few days, if you remember this, a few days before we launched, I had this friend, Shaya, from this band Dang Show, and I said to Shaya, would you come and help work on the sound with us? So Shaya actually, I think it was episode 2. The first episode was Hamid Ismail.
Correct. Yeah.
And I think you were part of it, but we had a friend of ours, Kenzie, working on the sound, and then you kind of took over from episode 2.
No, from the episode 1,
Oh, it was
I
it?
took over. Yeah, like at the end we played a lullaby song.
That's
and
right.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's right.
So,
So the same question to you when you reflect on it. What do you think about those early moments compared to where we've come?
but for me, there's one checkpoint that it showed me like Roqe has become something, is that in Iran they started a show called Roqe Show, so it showed me like, okay, so you are on a map, and then they want to imitate you.
Yeah. They want to steal our intellectual property.
Yeah.
That's how we tell we're doing well.
Which is, yeah.
Pega, you joined the show, I guess about a year in, or a couple of years
April
in.
2022.
April 2022.
When I joined, and then May 16th was the first time I was on air.
But
Of that same year.
The reason you joined, one of the reasons you joined, is that you were a listener and you had said,
Yeah.
I'm really
Yeah,
interested.
she was a fan of me.
So,
she-
oh, that's right, you were a fan of Shaya.
I still am Shaya.
She kind of changed her mind.
So, I mean, you can reflect on those early days of Roqe, even though you weren't on the air with us yet.
Yeah, for sure. I think Reza mentioned grassroots, and I would say that's definitely what what the word would be that I described Roqe kind of in the early days. And I think that's one of the things that was so appealing to me, was that, you know, even as a listener, you could tell that there was this mission, and that everyone who was a part of the team was really trying to drive that mission home and develop something. And it was just the authenticity that came through. And I mean, you know, there was nothing like this out there. And for me, especially, you know, having grown up in Toronto, having always been somehow involved in the Iranian community, there was this void of something in the English language. And so that's where Roqe came in.
It's really weird how, I'm going to jump all over the place here, because it's strange how it hasn't been that long. I mean, in a lifetime, 5 years is not that much, but how much, obviously we've changed, I guess, as a show, but how much the world has changed, including technology, and especially with regards to Iranian media. I mean, I guess this generalizes, but there really wasn't. I remember we worked on a little business plan at the beginning of Roqe. I'd gone around for a couple of years asking people, you know, would this kind of podcast work? You know, would this be interesting? And getting different opinions. I remember one prominent Iranian guy in DC telling me, like, yeah, you're going to run out of guests after 10 episodes. Like, who are you going to bring on to this? You know, and I remember some people going, I'm not sure if, it's interesting to me how it's so commonplace now. 5 years later, it's like there's probably hundreds of podcasts, many in English, about the Iranian experience, etc. And now, of course, they're on video and they're easy to make and all these things. All of that has changed. It's like prehistoric times, like 5 years ago, when we were. I mean, you were talking about we didn't have Zoom, so. We started with just audio, and we would put images as our YouTube, you know, and it would take you, you're pretty fast as an editor. It would take you like the better part of a day to just put it together, put the show together after we had recorded it. Yeah. Again, only 5 years ago. And now people are creating like it's so commonplace. Like everybody's like, I'm launching a podcast, and they're not just launching a podcast. They have the room, they have the microphones, they have the lighting, they have the cameras, all of which are like 1/10 of the price they were in 2020.
That's what I was gonna say. That the budget that we were considering from for A to Z, from equipment to softwares to everything, is now a fraction of what you would have spent 5 years ago. So it's a lot more affordable, and a lot more people are doing it. But aside from that was also the fact that AI wasn't a thing. Like you were writing your essays back then and now yourself. But now somebody who just read this essay can take that, be like, write one for me exactly like that. I want to do it exactly like Jian, and then it just memorizes it and comes and does it, right? So things have taken a totally different shape, moved a lot faster, which I want to bring it back to say to the Iranian community cause, and the fact that this initiative, the reason that it's sustained, it has a lot to do with the fact that there is a movement. This is for something bigger than its own, just entertainment of the show, right?
Well, we'll get to that, because I find that comes and goes. That comes and goes. We've been through it. There's moments where it feels like we're more vital, and then there's moments where it honestly feels like the community just wants entertainment and doesn't want anything more than that. But let's just stick with it for a second with this idea of how much things have changed in 5 years. Shaya, you were going to weigh in on that?
No, I.
Oh, you weren't. You were just nodding when Reza was talking.
How's the workload right now in the work studio? Like, I remember when we started the show, like every day of week, like we come to the studio. Even in weekends, sometimes the weekends become there and stay there till.
Especially at the beginning.
At the beginning, the first year, the second year was
like every day people were.
To be honest, we had more people.
Yeah.
We had more staff, and everybody's working a lot more, and we were doing less. Like now, everything's just faster. It's faster. It's because of the technology mostly. It's like those first weeks, the other thing that you have to remember is when you're launching something like this, especially in I think now if somebody launches a podcast and says, hey, I want you to be my guest on this podcast about the Iranian diaspora or whatever, everybody understands what that is. You know, in the beginning, it was so hard. I mean, Hamid came on because he was a friend, close friend of a friend, and you know, and I knew him a little bit. But getting guests in the beginning was really hard. You have to sort of convince them, like, what is this, and why should you? The people are just doing us favors. I remember, if there was a breaking point, it was we launched in April. I think it was like June or July that Dr. Firuz Naderi came on, and I had met him a couple of times, and somebody put me in touch with him again, and he agreed to do it. And he, of course, has passed, but he was a very prominent person in the Iranian space, no pun intended. That episode, I remember, overnight got like 2,000 views or something on our YouTube, and we had never had anything like that before. And it kind of suddenly there was a legitimacy that came with, you know, and I've experienced this with other shows that I've launched in the past. When a certain number of guests come on, when it hits a certain amount and prominent guests, then it's a lot easier to, at this point, you know, we just send we're somebody like a request that we'd like to have you on Roqe, and here's our Instagram or here's our YouTube. They can peruse through it. They may not choose to be on, or they could choose, but they're not going to say, what is it? You know, why should I come on? Because Pega, you were nodding about this.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, one of the things I wanted to point out, and, you know, I even saw this from the point that I joined Roqe, was progressively it got easier and easier in terms of questions and what individuals would ask, or what their managers or whoever would ask in terms of, okay, well, what is this about? At the beginning, even when I first joined, there was a lot more that went into explaining what the purpose and the mission and the format and things like that would be. Whereas now, you know, like you said, it's so common now. You know, you tell anyone on podcasts and they immediately know what that format is going to look like, and what the conversation might even seem like. And also now there's the ability with all this technology where even if the individual isn't here in the same city in the studio, you know, you're able to do these interviews.
Would you, if for me it's Firuz Naderi, do you remember which guests came on that you were like, wow, we've got somewhere?
Yeah, for me was Farmanara, Bahman Farmanara, like it was a big name, and then Irfan actually like shook
the rapper Irfan.
Rapper Irfan. These two guys, I think they changed like.
Well, Bahman Farmanara was also in Iran.
In Iran,
so we were doing an interview with somebody in Tehran. That was interesting.
That was very interesting, and I was surprised that he was able to. Like, he wasn't afraid of like openly talking.
He's quite fearless.
Yeah, very fearless. But Baba Kamini I was excited that, like, I knew he's your friend and it was like bound to happen, but it was like, this is kind of cool. Like, I like having seen like local people come into the studio, because it wasn't Zoom. Like, he was a face that came inside.
But I have a question. Speaking English is not any like thing right now. If I guess like cannot speak English, you still bring, because I remember
still do the interview Farsi,
that was a hard time of like
a couple of things have happened. One is that my Persian has gotten better.
Oh,
much better, yeah. And the second thing is that we at that point we were like no English, no show. Like, you know, and it's just made sense in some cases. We just have some.
Who was the first Farsi speaking guest? Do you remember? Like, we was like,
I think Rastok we did in Persian.
Yeah, but before that we had a lot of Farsi.
You did
like
one.
Bahman Qobadi, we did Ali Reza Qurbani, it was in Farsi.
No, Ali Reza Qurbani was in English.
Actually, you're right.
Yeah. Bahman Qobadi. Yeah,
I remember Bahman Qobadi. Yes, Bahman Qobadi. I remember.
But now, I mean, it can be a tough thing too now, because this has to do with how the complexion of the diaspora has changed, believe it or not, because there's so many people who've come from Iran to outside of Iran to places like Canada, and particularly Canada and the Great that the expectations have changed. You know, now it's like, well, you know, because at that point the diaspora was even just 5.5 years ago was, you might say predominantly, I don't have the stats, but were people who speak English, or a lot of them speak. Now, there's probably a 100,000 out of the 300,000 or 400,000 that are in Canada, in Richmond Hill now, that don't speak English at all. They've just come here. They speak Persian. They're happy to speak Persian. They do their business in Persian. That's it. So they're kind of like, well, why are you doing this in English? That doesn't make any sense to me. And that's a reflection of how things have really changed. At that time we launched Roqe, again, these things like 5 years. Like, who knew things could change this much? At the time, Persian events were like once every couple of months, or like, at Nowruz there's a few galas, but like, there's a big concert next month. Or now in a place like Toronto, and I'm assuming certainly LA, San Diego, Sydney, Australia, whatever, every night of the week in Toronto, definitely on the weekends, there's like 10, 15 Persian events that are competing against each other. We didn't have that 5.5 years ago. We would be like, let's have a guest on who's coming 2 months from now for a concert. Pega, go ahead.
I was just going to say, anecdotally, we always talk about this. I talk about it with friends. I know, Jian, you and I have talked about this too, but even going to an event in Toronto now, for somebody like me who's grown up here, I used to go to Persian events in the city, and every single person in attendance I would pretty much know. Or at least 90% of them I would know, because we went to school together, or we were family friends, or they were friends of friends, or, we were part of the same, I don't know, whatever community. There must have been some sort of connection between all of the people there. Now I come to Toronto and I go to a Persian event, and it's the inverse. It's like maybe I know 10% of the people there.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because
so true. It depends on the event, right? But I went to the Shad Mer concert like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I get that there's people who grew up with him that love the songs, and he seemed nice enough. It didn't move me, but 5,000 people, and I probably, most of them I would look at and go, I don't know who these people are. Do you, Shaya, you came to Canada almost 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago. Do you notice the change, or is it you can see it, right? You don't have to have been here as long as me and Pega.
Even comparing comparing to 2 years ago, I can feel the change. It's obvious.
It's really, really wild.
Yeah,
it's Little Persia. Literally, they named it Little Persia because of this.
They named it Little Iran.
Little Iran.
That's the attention to detail that I'm used to.
It's another country.
When we talked about how the expectations of what we had to do have to do with Roqe have changed. I remember when there was always what's the mission? I always believe in, if we're starting something, especially we're not just starting this it's not a business enterprise. It's like we're trying to do something. We're trying to affect some change. We're trying to do something for the broader community, etc. Our mission, we talked about how we don't want to be political, or sometimes we may not be able to avoid it, but we don't want to. It's not a political show. It's not a partisan show. But we also talked about we don't want to just be an entertainment goofy thing. We want it to be educational. We want it to have value. Those things morph. They change as the community does, and the expectations of the community, and the obvious rupture or the obvious turn in things came about 2 years in, when, or maybe 2.5 years in, when the Mahsa Amini, we had covered Aban, we had covered Nazanin, what's her name, Nasrin Sotoudeh. We'd covered a bunch of things that were happening in Iran that could be considered political, etc. But when that happened and the global protests began and the uprising and women life freedom, it really changed everything in terms of what we were able to do and what we were expected to do. And I mean, I still think, that moment, if you look at something like Manoto, it derailed Manoto forever. Like, they were kind of this fun cultural network that was chugging along, and then suddenly had to morph into this political thing and didn't have the tools of a BBC Persian or Iran International. But for us too, it was we had to do that, and then we came out of that time with a fair bit of success. But if you remember in the beginning of the Masa Amini, I also said I don't want to do any advertising. I don't want to have any sponsors because it feels wrong. You know, we're doing this right now. Kids are being killed. I didn't expect that to last 6 months, right? So then we were like, we need advertisers, we need sponsors. Why are we doing this? You know, and but that same moment where people were attacking Saucy for doing a concert or saying, you know, musicians shouldn't be, it was affecting us too. It was, you know, we couldn't bring on guests that seemed too light or seemed like they weren't going to talk about the protests, et cetera. Pega, you were a big part of that. You know, the roundtable. We had to lead every show talking. And I say we had to. We wanted to. I mean, it was so prominent. And then we sort of come out of that, and we get into this other era where I would say we kind of are still right now, where especially after the Iran-Israel conflict and stuff, where it's kind of bifurcated between people who, you know, want us to be talking about politics and Reza Pahlavi and what, and then on the other hand, people are just like, I don't have any oxygen left to hear anything about that. Do your cultural and entertaining show, you know, like, Pega, could you want to reflect on those changes, and then you guys take that each one?
Yeah, I mean, you know, earlier you were talking about kind of what was that moment that we saw a turn or a change or you know, that spark at Roqe. And I think for me, it was when we did Voices from Inside Iran. That was that pivotal moment for me. And it was because all of these things that we had even started talking about, you know, from the top of the show till now, were all kind of blended together. It was the mission was coming together. It was about uniting the community. It was having that space to...
We should describe what that was. We should describe that.
Yeah, so I mean, it was when during the Masa Amini uprising, and so we were actually able to get in touch with individuals who were inside of Iran, different parts of Iran, who were willing to actually come onto the show and give us a firsthand account of what they were experiencing and what was going on. And so I think that was the moment for me that really solidified everything that was part of the mission and all of that. But, you know, to go back to what you're saying in terms of where we stand now and kind of that odd moment of, are we political? Are we no longer political? Or originally we didn't want to be, and now so much has happened. I think that actually speaks to the reality of our community as well, because these are things that every single Iranian, I think, struggles with on a day-to-day basis. You know, we all still very much care about everything that we know is wrong within the country, but at the same time, you know, there's burnout, there's emotions, there's your day-to-day life, all of that. So it's the difficulty of being an Iranian is the way that I can put it.
Yeah, I hear you on all that, and I should remind us all that first show that we did, the very first show, April 16th, 2020, was actually in tribute to the Flight 752 victims. So, and I remember after that first show, getting an email from a guy in the community, one of the builders of the Toronto community, who I'd come to and saying, hey, we're starting this thing, maybe you can be a sponsor. Just like having a go at me, saying, you know, why did you start a political show? We don't want political, you know. So even then there was that tension. And then, of course, there was, again, during Masa Amini, there was no choice but to be political. And then now we're in this weird space again. Reza.
I think the space that we are right now is inevitable, but is not, like, even the people that are avoiding politics are inevitably part of, they have to choose now. Like, we are not, after Masa Amini and the catalyst, I think, for that, for this whole change, which began with the Flight 752, started gradually, and then it kind of caught a wildfire where you have to make a human choice. You have to make it it's a moral choice. It's not a political choice anymore, because it's not up for debates whether Islamic Republic is okay, is good, and we don't agree with their politics, or there's room for change, and I don't want to be political. Like, we're talking about murderers and
yeah,
rapists.
I don't hear that.
So
I don't think that's true though.
I
People
think
people
it
don't feel
is.
that. No, I agree with what you're
Yeah.
saying, but I don't think people. That's not the way people feel. I feel like there's more appetite or more interest in so-called reformism, like now, than there was even before Mahsa Amini. Like, you know, like if we went through a period where Nyack had become, you know, like Nyack had been canceled,
Yeah.
that type of thing, they're back. Everybody, you know, there's like, you know, a lot of media out there, Iranian media, maybe not the big, maybe not Iran International, but certain media saying, hey, you know, things are getting better in Iran. It's moderates. It's not
But
the way.
that's still talking
this
politics. What I'm trying to say is that if there was a time where people didn't want to choose, right? Yeah, you might be right. People are not choosing black and white, whether we were Islamic or
They're
Republic
saying
or not.
let's not talk about this because Iran is getting moderate. Yeah, the you know, the economy is an issue, but otherwise let's move on with our lives.
But that
Enough
doesn't-
of this revolution stuff.
I think even talking about it, about the fact that they're not talking about it, they don't want to talk about it, right? Even the fact that they say stop talking about it, they're talking about it. They are.
Okay.
Like, because every now and again, something comes up, like whether it's white SIM cards in Iran, which shows there's certain elite people in Iran can't have access to internet without filters, and do podcasts and shows just for entertainment and become kind of a whitewasher of the regime, right? And it's a very a legitimate move on part of a regime like Iran, because the war with Iranian people and Islamic Republic is not just in the streets, it's a media war. And what is the media war? Somebody wants to tell the truth, another person is like, no, stop it, give me candy. And that's in the form of Persian media that is being, and of course, technology and everything that we talked about over the progression and ease of access to creation of content has led to all these cyber soldiers of Islamic Republic being able to become sort of tiny media
I feel
outlets.
like I still feel like it's more nihilistic than that. There's a cohort that are just like, I don't care anymore.
That doesn't matter.
It's
That
not
part
going
of
to
it,
change.
they always existed. Those people are the silent majority, which were silent when Islamic Republic took over, and will be silent when Islamic Republic will fall.
Okay,
They're
Shaya?
just followers, I think.
I want to go back to the Mahsa Amini period and what happened actually during that time. I mean, it applies to a lot of people, actually, including me and my band. And when we posted at that time, the clicks were going like, you know, it was like, for example, we post something, it has like 20k, 30k views, and during the Mahsa Amini, it jumped to 500k, and so it like boost us, and so I think that, and also after that the shadow ban that completely we fall. I think that was the fuel, fuel that we need at that moment, you know, to see, okay, we are doing something. And because I remember the first essay that you did in the Mahsa Amini period, I think it went to like 500.
Yeah, a few of them did. A few of them did. Yeah.
So that was
people were hungry for that.
That was the fuel I think we need, because and
they might be frustrated now. Sorry to interrupt you, but I think they're waiting for the next thing.
Pega, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think, you know, when the Mahsa Amini situation arose, there was this like almost like lack of activism within the community. There had been kind of this like lull in the time in which things that happened really brought the community together, and then we saw the community come together so quickly and so strongly. And you know, we talked about this over the course of the months that we were doing these shows, that there was so much raw emotion and there was just so much collective unity that we had never seen before. It was unprecedented in the community. And then immediately after that, we saw a burnout from all that, you know, towards, I think it was closer to the end, you know, we started to see people lose hope. We started to see conversations of, well, what's going to happen? What's not going to happen? Is it good to have, to be part of this activism? Is it not? Should we have concerts? Should we not have concerts? It was that doubt. And I think now we're at a point where a lot of people, even individuals who were really heavily involved, they're kind of I don't want to say hopeless, but they've lost that spark and that glimmer and that hope essentially. And so now it's almost this like this resting period, if you will. And like Reza said, maybe they're waiting for something new, but they don't have the same appetite and they certainly don't have the same emotional bandwidth, that's for sure. But it's not to say that things have gotten any better in the country.
I mean, also something to keep in mind is that 3 years is a long time in the growth of a diaspora.
Yeah.
3 years is like 30 years. You know, it's that saying, you know, a week is like a year in politics, you know, that type of thing. It's been 3 years since the Mahsa Amini, the Women Life Freedom Movement, if you want to put it this way, started to wind down, right?
Yeah.
As we turned into 2020, you know, 2023, it started to die. So you have people who've come to Toronto now, Iranians, who weren't even here for those protests, who weren't here for the 80,000 people in Richmond Hill,
that's right.
you know, that type of thing, right? And I'm sure that's happening around the world as well, the different migration patterns. And people forget, like you talk about it crystallizing the community. You and I at that time talked about this, Pegah. We'd never seen this before. We'd never marched down Yonge Street with thousands of other Iranians feeling
100%,
Iranian pride. Quite the inverse. We'd felt, you know, scared to be discriminated against or whatever when we were kids. So we went through that, and now that's almost forgotten or not considered because some people weren't even here for it. You know,
Exactly.
That's what time does. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Shaya.
I just remember when we're doing the voice of inside Iran, voices inside Iran. What was the name? The guy that
Voices from inside Iran.
the guy that or it was a girl. She was escaping. You know.
Yes.
That was like a
Yes.
fascinating
Yes.
moment, you know.
Actually escaping as she was talking? 'Cause
Yes,
I was-
she was in
yeah.
hiding.
Yeah,
she was in hiding
yeah.
near Shiraz or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it was so, yeah.
yeah.
Which episode was it? Do you remember?
Mm,
We should
Well,
put an excerpt of it here.
It would
Just
have
a
been
little bit of it.
in that period then of
Yeah.
probably the fall of 2022
Yeah.
where we did the Voice of Iran, which also became harder to do as they, you know, we at first. As a reflection of the protests inside Iran, there were a lot of people available to us. We would change their names, we would protect them, but then as that started to crack down and it got really, really hard, we couldn't even get anybody on the phone.
Some of them, they were so brave that they didn't want
Yeah.
to change their
Most of
name.
them young girls,
Yeah.
women. It was amazing. What have you learned about being Iranian or about the Iranian community? I know it's probably a million things, but what have you learned by working on Roqe that you wouldn't have known before? Who wants to start? Reza.
I'll start.
You'll start. You go.
Go ahead, Meg.
Yeah. You know, I think I had a very black and white image of what the Iranian community looked like. Again, maybe because when I was growing up, there weren't this many variances or different types of Iranian in Toronto. And I think having been part of Roqe and being exposed to not only the different, you know, guests that we have on the show, but also through whether it's our live events or conversations or comments or whatever that comes through, I think it's really taught me just how diverse our own community is. And that's really interesting for me. And you know, I even see that even within our own team. Like if you look back at, for example, the Nowruz special that we did just last March, you know, I thought Nowruz was something that we all saw the same thing and understood the same thing and had similar ideas. And even that, when you look back at some of the conversations, we all had different understandings and things had different meanings and we looked at it a different way. So for me, I think the biggest takeaway has been just how diverse we are as a community.
Yeah, how diverse and how, I mean, we have a very long way to reach democracy, you know.
You
Right.
didn't know that before?
I
That's something you've learned from Roqe?
actually, yes, kind of, because I remember when we did Nasrin's Today episode, I was shocked the amount of backlash that we received about she's doing like
Yeah.
she's doing something for the democracy, and people like invade us, and
Yeah.
so that showed.
Well, I like to tell people that, and maybe this is something I've learned, but that there's almost no episode of Roqe. It's probably been a handful. 400 now. We've done 400. There's almost no episode that goes by without getting some criticism like, why did you bring this person on? And some of them are super surprising. It's like a comedian, and you'll get like 100 comments saying, how dare you, this guy's like Nyack or whatever, that type of thing, or vice versa. So that speaks to our community. I mean, it also speaks to the age of social media, but that it's really, really a bit of a minefield to a certain extent.
I know.
Something you've learned.
So, well, I did this purely for money. So that's one. But coming to this community,
You've learned there's no money.
I realized I've been duped. So then I started looking for love. And but I realized how much of and seriously, genuinely, when we started, and it was like, okay, the mission statement, a conversation to, from, and about the Iranian diaspora. And you remember it was kind of very whole. And you were like, we're making an encyclopedia.
Dairatul Ma'arif.
And it's kind of like vernacularly, you're like, all right, now let's bring Andy and talk about Dukhtar Bayat Baraksan. And you kind of realize that will be part of the Iranian diaspora 20 years later. Because then we did that show on Thursday. We were doing History of Iran. And one of them was about Abdul Jabbar, for his last name, the guy in the Lion's Shadow, the guy who freed Jews from
Sardari.
Abdul Hussein
Sardari.
Sardari. That's right. It's not Sardari.
Sardari.
Sardari. Persian Schindler.
Yes.
And then we had, may God bless her heart, our dear Kian, who was co-hosting. I was doing these little bits about like Iranians have things that Iranians have discovered or found or been, found.
What was the name? It's all about Persian.
It's all
Persian to us.
It's all Persian to us.
All Persian.
Yeah. She was doing it's all Persian to us, and she would get it all wrong.
It's not true. That's not true. She actually researched for those.
No, she would do research. It's really great. I love it.
By the way, the family is Kiana. I was thinking to bring her for this, but I think she's in a castle in France.
She is.
Right?
She's in a castle in France having tea with Brigitte Bardot. No, I don't know why I should do it. But I was like, wow, how much Iranians have contributed so much to the world. And if we were to get the credit for things, and if credit was given where credit was due, truly, Iranians' place in Western society, societally speaking, and from status perspective, is not shouldn't be in amongst the third world countries or the countries that are banned for visa, or even be looked down upon as a because it's, and I wouldn't, like, that you hear that we have Persian, we have Saadi, we have so many Persian poets, we have Ferdowsi, we have adabiyat from growing up in your family, right? But that's one thing. When those elements, those monumental literatures are not modernized, translated, talked about in a more salvageable and a mainstream way through platform and mediums that are consumable for the audience, then you can't expect every teenager who grows up here, doesn't speak for, or kids in Iran even who listen to Taylor Swift and K-pop stars, to go back and read and learn about these amazing figures in our history. So for me, it was, I learned how to defend my culture, promote it, and talk about it in a way where I can be proud of,
I think I would. I mean, I've learned a million things, so I can't possibly. Just saying one feels like a disservice to all the other things I've learned. But on the point of the diversity, I think I felt that what I've learned is that I wasn't maybe privy to the amount of to the level of the lack of unity amongst Iranians. You know, because if you hover superficially, even as an Iranian, around the Iranian community, and you have the galas, and you have the or your Mahmoudis, and there's food, and there's rachs, and there's, you know, you can escape to a certain extent seeing the level of disagreement about a lot of different things, not just politics, but even within the culture, intracultural disagreements and infighting. And so while I always knew it was a trope that we're not as good at team sports in the Olympics as we are at weightlifting and wrestling, I've seen that more close up to a certain extent in a disheartening way, but that won't come as any surprise to most Iranians listening.
Do you think that'll change as Iranians' population grow in the diaspora, or no, it'll be more the same and just with more people?
I think the problem is that you with the added level of, when you talk about Iranians in the diaspora, there's the added level of the trauma, the difficulty, and the challenges of being immigrants, particularly Iranian immigrants. So carrying the weight of all that they've been through in Iran, they coming here, the adjustment, the assimilation, the non-assimilation, all of that. So all of that leads to more challenges in terms of just like being unified as a community. I find that there's a real dog-eat-dog, as much as I do believe Iranians love being Iranian and love the culture. There's a lot of competition in any given field between Iranians, I find.
A bit of I'm in it for myself.
A bit. I mean, you know, and like, not only that, but I'm in it for myself. I'm going to push whoever I have to aside to get there. Let's be real. We're trying to, you know, this is what we can't hide from this stuff. That's a drag.
Yeah.
And one thing that I want to add to that actually is, you know, I think we come together more in the face of an external, whatever you want to call it, but amongst ourselves, we lack that unity. So it's almost like as soon as there's like a third party there, then it's like, oh yeah, we're unified and it's us and whatever. But the minute that it's just us within ourselves, that unity disappears.
Yeah.
Which is not good. I had a thought, but I changed.
I want to say one final thing before we'll do a little rapid fire before we end off of like most surprising guests and that type of thing. But I want to say one thing about the nature of technology that I've witnessed, and everybody here is actually fond of media and technology, so you guys can speak to it. When we launched Roqe in the pre-Zoom era, and even pre-FaceTime and Instagram, like Instagram Lives was a relatively new thing too, right? So where you can, you know, with the camera, you talk to somebody. I think we were still in an era, like this is 2020, begins of COVID, where if you were going to do something visually, it had to look good. You were going to do video, the video had to be good video, right? Like it, you know, in other words, if it wasn't network TV quality, it would be considered, this is a program that doesn't have enough money, and this is indie, they're low budget, whatever. Zoom really changed that. Zoom changed that so that people began to not care as much, I believe, about video quality. Frankly, they don't care about audio quality as much either. We've sort of come around on the other side of that now, because now, you know, the technology's gotten cheaper again. People buy fancier cameras, have nicer video, and care about the audio to a certain extent. But I think it's changed forever. In other words, or at least for now, that had we launched video at the time that looks like the video that would have come out in 2022, 2023, in 2020, before Zoom, people would have gone, oh, these guys really don't have the equipment, you know? And then, you know, and you also have to remember world events. Like one of the things about the Mahsa Amini uprising was there wasn't professional camera crews going and shooting stuff there. So a lot of the video that was coming out of Iran was very poor quality. It was running on network TV, right, on the Iranian network channels, right? Like on Iran International, on BBC, they would, you know, Manoto had entire shows that were just like grainy video that was, and people kind of get used to that. So I think the sort of boundaries of what you can do considered what is media and put it out there, and what people are even have the appetite to see and spend their time looking at versus what would cost millions of dollars at 9 p.m. on NBC still has changed forever, or for now. Would you agree with that?
I think forever, and there was a time perhaps when we started, or even before, maybe anybody who had such an idea the goal was to get on traditional broadcasting, get proper big sponsorship, and spend millions of dollars. Whereas you see ever since then, major talk show hosts like right-wing Tucker Carlson, left-wing
starting podcasts,
going to platforms like X, or YouTube or other platforms, and even if there is a network or somebody with money that sees that opportunity, they're more so trying to jump on the bandwagon and piggyback off of, and become a podcaster. They come to you, and if they want to be a part of this, they're like, how can we be involved with you now? But this is it. You're doing it.
Yeah.
Because it kind of broke up. And I, to be honest with you, I've been saying that for years. I saw that come in with podcast, and then it became the news, television, movies. It's now happening with cinema. Like it's bite-sized content where, like, there was a time where I would apply for grants in Canada to get funding to make movies, and then the movies had to, like, I'm Iranian, so I would make it personal so that I could get the grant, diversity, all that. Right now, there's a Chinese company that makes mobile movies, dramas, and they come and they give me a little bit of money, and maybe less money than I would got as a grant to make a big ass movie, but it's more consistent. I get a little bit of money, and I'm making tiny movies for movie of the week that back then was playing on network television. Now it's on mobile, vertical on the app, 10 minutes a pop. You stop anytime you want. You have control as an audience, right? So the narrative becomes all about what's true, what feels more real, what's more honest. And that's why I think there is something to that not lower quality, but real quality. Whereas back then it was all about spectacles and bigger shows. And
but what I'm saying is back then was 5 years ago. That's what I'm saying.
That is bizarre.
That's what I'm saying. It's in the lifetime of Roqe, like we still want good quality. We care about it, but it just doesn't. I'm amazed at the things I see that have millions of views where the sound will be like shit. I was like, really? You don't care about the sound? Like, I'm a radio guy. You recorded this? And even the things that have become normalized, like Amazon or whatever sells like podcast microphones that they're called podcast microphones, but they're basically shitty microphone, like a $20 or $50 microphone but that's normal, because that's all you need. And
it's also because, like, we live in an age now, and I know we say we live in an age now, and it's only been the last couple of years, but it's like we just want quick access to content. Like, look at all of the social media. Like, look at TikTok, look at X, look at all of these platforms. It's bite-sized snippets of whatever is going on. It's that, and it's also, I think, in the context of the Iranian community, it's the rise of citizen journalism or citizen media as a whole. Like, throughout the entire portion of the Mass Amini uprising, like you were saying, it was all based on what footage and what content individuals could get on their cell phones. So I think all of that is part of why it's like this now.
خلاصه که جیان جان هیچ آدابی و ترتیبی مجوی، هرچه میخواهد دل تنگت بگوی.
آفرین، همین میخواستم بگم.
بله.
بگوی یا مگوی؟
بگوی. Some lightning round questions. How about some lightning round questions? Most surprising Roqe guest.
Okay.
Who came on the show and you were surprised with how they were?
How they were?
Sure.
Mohammad Khordadian.
What surprised you about him?
I wasn't expecting his life story and the way that he told it, and honestly, the depth of it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Good one.
That was hard.
This is one of those things I sent you guys beforehand.
Yeah,
And now I know who read the email and who didn't.
no, I thought about that, but no one can.
Just say a name.
Surprising.
Yeah.
For me, it was Reza Pahlavi. It was surprising.
How was that surprising?
I didn't think we would, because we wanted to get him for a while.
Oh,
It
the
was
surprising part was that he came on the show.
Yeah.
Most surprising guest ever.
No, because
Reza
it was,
Pahlavi for coming on the
it's
show.
because, like, if it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago, like I wouldn't be as surprised, because you got his wife Yasmin Pahlavi. I think you got Shabanu, right?
No.
We got
I
Yasmin.
can't wait to have the show.
I know, and that you see Shabanu, I see happening, but even back then, like,
She
we were
doesn't want to
trying
come to. She doesn't fly to Toronto for that. That's the problem.
That's right.
So I have to
But
get
the
her.
reason that it was surprising and also very, I was like it was very heartwarming, was that because the situation that he's in, like right now, he's the only opposition really to the Iranian occupying regime, which is Islamic Republic, and is like the security around him, everything that goes. And I was thinking, and I haven't seen him do any like really other than, some
Okay,
news
so you were
television.
surprised that
I was surprised.
Reza
Yeah,
Pahlavi came on.
yeah, but it
Alright.
was good.
Okay.
Not surprising, but for me was Farmanaz Aslani. It was really touched my heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like.
That's
his
a good one.
story, yeah.
Faraz, yeah. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
I would
yeah.
say
Rest in peace.
Shabal Shapare.
Why?
Because I just couldn't believe how he's 85, or he was at the time with the interview a couple of years ago, how sentient and on it he was, and how beautifully generous he is with his the way he sees the world and life, and wanting to give to others.
Shabal is older than Shahram, right?
Yeah, significantly, yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Like,
gonna
I think about
interview his
10 years
brother
older,
now.
yeah.
10 years older.
Something like that, yeah. I think
And
Shahram is late 70s now, mid 70s.
their last name is actually Shapare?
Yes.
Shapare, right?
What, you think they made that name up?
I don't know, maybe stage name.
No, Shapal.
I thought they'd go with something easy, like most unforgettable behind the scenes moment. I don't know.
Oh, I have one for this.
All right.
Really, really early on when I joined, we recorded an entire episode, and it was like a really heated conversation and like really into it, only to realize that because of technical difficulties, none of it had been recorded.
I remember.
And,
I don't remember that,
oh my God, you don't?
No.
Okay, I do. Yeah.
but I'm
yeah.
already getting angry at Shaya for not recording it again.
I think it was like something went wrong with like the technical piece, and then we realized that none of it had been recorded, and we ended up redoing it. And for me, it was still really early on when I had been on the show, and so internally I was freaking out because I was like, how am I gonna say the same things, and how is this gonna work? But I think it actually ended up being 10 times better. So it's definitely a moment that I can't forget.
I remember we brought, it was early on where we would bring, we brought in this martial arts athlete. She was a lady. I forgot her name. And don't say her name. Don't say something. And I remember
Was it the second show ever?
I don't remember. Maybe second or third show,
Okay,
but but I remember.
Stick with that. I don't remember.
I was so like impressed and tongue tied by the way she like presented herself, and like was very powerful. And then after the show ended, usually you're like, so Captain Reza, what do you think of Miss blah blah blah? And I was like, she's a lot of woman. and it was just, we were like, stop, you couldn't stop laughing. We kind of cut it out, and I did it again, but I remember that she was a lot of woman.
I remember that we had a team member who wanted to make breakfast, enjoyed making breakfast for the team. Do you remember that?
Oh yes.
And so, which was fine, except for the fact that for 3 hours, like we would sit and eat breakfast. There's work to be done, guys.
It was interesting. You would come to the office.
That's
8
changed.
a.m.
I think the people who are here regularly at this Roqe office would marvel at how the funding for things like breakfast, sitting around eating breakfast, was irresponsibly meted out at that point.
Yeah, I love some when we were recording interviews. Oogie was snoring in the next room, like
Oh, yeah.
loud. Yeah, it was.
Oogie's in a separate room now.
Yeah.
Oogie, the French bulldog. Well, it's been nice to have you guys here.
Hamas Qaran.
Hamas Qaranat.
قرارنات.
That-
میزون باشید آقا.
Mizun Machine, still part of the lexicon of 400 episodes. It's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
5.5 years, 400 episodes, man.
Yeah, it's,
Where do you see this before you end on the Mizun Bashid? Where do you see this in the next 5 years?
I see it probably closing it down at 402. 2 more episodes.
So we gotta make it to February, Jian.
That's right. Sorry. Yeah, we have to get to
We got a
February.
show. We
Get
got
to
a
Roqe
show.
Live 6. So, no, I mean, you know, it's. Yes.
Sorry, it's a weekly show now, right? Because no, because because when
Hurry
we-
on.
No, because
Shai,
when-
the show's called Roqe.
no, when
It
we
should. Do you even subscribe when you're not here?
No, when we start, it was 2 episodes.
That's
per
right.
week.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Mondays.
Well, and then we went to 1 episode a week, and we went back to 2 at Massa, if you remember. For a while, we went back to
Oh.
1, and yeah.
no, we went back to 1, and like
And
we have
then
one Choi
history.
one,
Yes.
like we released.
Yeah.
But I think we went to 1 for a while, then we went back to 2. Anyway,
Anyway,
yes, it's once a week
Okay.
now. Yes.
good.
Well, Roqe is, you know, I think we have to keep expanding what we do in terms of the impact we can have on the community, and doing stuff like the ideas of the Roqe Hub and the Roqe Live and stuff like that is a big part of, I think, how we affect directly the community around us.
And Roqe Live, I have to say something. The Roqe Live 4 was the first Roqe Live that because I didn't at that time I didn't live in Toronto, so
That's right.
I couldn't be
Yeah.
in the. So Roqe Live 4 was the first time that I saw Roqe Live, and it's fascinating, really. Good
Thank you.
job, really, because the production it's like next level.
I don't think there's
compared
anything
to-
like it.
No,
Yeah.
compared to any Persian event, is like next level, and
And also, it's it really means a lot. Like to me, the Roqe Icon Award and things like that. It's not. I don't take it lightly. I mean, the fact that we use this as a vehicle to promote our community. I was at an event recently. Like it was a kind of a I don't even know how you call it. Sort of a gala, but it's a sort of event in a theater with a bunch of people there. And I looked around the room and realized that a lot of these people knew each other because of Roqe, you know, or they'd come together through networking because of things that we've done. And that's pretty huge. I don't think anybody can deny that, you know, through our events and through our gatherings.
And I just actually, to add to Shaya's point about the live events, I mean, you know, we've talked about the last 5 years now, but Roqe Live has only been the last 3 years, I think, or 2 years.
2 years.
2
2 years.
Yeah.
And yet, if you look at Roqe Live 1 versus Roqe Live 5, like the progression between the live shows, like in every single way, looking at the production, looking at the show itself, looking at the venue, the caliber of the show, I mean, it has grown so much.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited about the future of Roqe Live, honestly.
All of which will mean nothing if nobody comes to Roqe Live 6. So get your tickets now. Guys, thank you so much. Sorry to the audience and to you guys for me sounding like I have to get back to the hospital as soon as this is done. But I'm actually okay. It's just my head is stuffed up. That's all. Groovy Shaya,
Yes, sir.
good to have you back here. We got to bring you back here and talk about your music and your new education in HVAC,
Yes,
in air conditioners and heaters.
Yes,
you know a
yes.
lot about
Yeah,
that.
Yeah. It's actually very kind of eye-opening for me. So I will come.
Have you
later.
learned more working in HVAC or working at Roqe about the Persian community?
Sure.
Captain Reza,
Good, sir.
anything you need to plug?
My heart.
You're available for feature films.
I'm not available. I'm working right now. Yeah, I'm available. If anybody wants, got money, come. But if you got ideas you want to develop, no, I'm not available.
I love the candor. Smart Pega, nice to see you.
Nothing to plug. Good to see you.
See you soon. This is full time for Roqe for today. Thanks to the amazing team who put this show together each week. That's right, the music.
یادش بخیر واقعا.
Super Parisa, Savvy Roham, Tina, the photo and video queen, and the talented Arahita. Special thanks to the charming Kimia, the CK, Smart Pega, Methodical Kabe.
ما نامه میخوندیم دیگه
نامه رو
اصلا
یادته؟
چی شد.
Oh, that's right. The Rising Kia. Thank you to all of you out there for supporting us and sharing our content. Please subscribe on any or all of our platforms if you haven't already. Find Roqe on Instagram at Roqe Media. Find me at Jian Ghomeshi. And as ever, in the words of Uncle Behre, Mizun Bashir. Thanks, Pega.
Thank you. Bye, you guys. Bye, Reza. Bye.